Keir Starmer has just made one of the most reckless political moves yet, and it's turning the British public against him fast. We've been told time and time again that there's no money for tax cuts, no money to fix our broken public services, no money to help struggling pensioners. But suddenly when it comes to one specific issue, the government magically finds billions to spare. This latest decision has exposed Starmer like never before, sparking outrage across the country. While other world leaders are taking a very different stance, Britain is once again leading the charge in a way that many say puts foreign interests ahead of its own people. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Just a quick one to say we have new Liber t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to BritishStand.com. Once again, Keir Starmer is throwing Britons hard. Earned cash at a foreign war while our own country falls apart. His latest move? Doubling down on his willingness to put boots on the ground in Ukraine and committing billions more in military aid, despite growing frustration among the British people. At a recent press conference, Starmer insisted that Europe must do the heavy lifting in supporting Ukraine. He even claimed to agree with Donald Trump on the need for a durable peace, though Trump has made it clear he wants to cut off the endless funding. But here's the kicker. Britons don't back Starmer's war-hungry decisions. Polls show growing concern over government spending priorities, and yet Starmer keeps writing blank checks for Ukraine. The plan that's driving a wedge between Starmer and the public Starmer outlined a 4-point plan that he claims will bring peace to Ukraine. 1. Maintain military aid while increasing economic pressure on Russia. 2. Ensure Ukraine's sovereignty and security by demanding it be present in peace negotiations. 3. Deter future Russian invasions by strengthening Europe's military presence. 4. Create a coalition of the willing to guarantee Ukraine's long-term defense. This all sounds good in theory, but the reality? More British money leaving our shores, while back home, our own citizens are struggling. To help Ukraine negotiate from a position of strength, Starmer has pledged £1.6 billion in UK export finance for air defence missiles. Missiles that will be built in Belfast to create British jobs. But here's the thing, why is the government only investing in manufacturing when it benefits a foreign war? What about investing in Britain's own economy, our industries, our defence, our people? This isn't about helping the UK, it's about Starmer positioning himself as Europe's new lapdog. And people are noticing. The £22 billion black hole that magically disappears. We've been told for years that Britain is facing a £22 billion black hole. We've been told that we can't afford tax cuts. We can't afford better pay for nurses, police and firefighters. We can't afford to fix our crumbling roads and infrastructure. We can't afford to lower energy bills for pensioners freezing in winter. But when it comes to funding a foreign war, the government suddenly finds billions to spare, and Britons are sick of it. What makes this even worse is how different Starmer's approach is compared to America's. Just 24 hours before meeting with Starmer, Zelensky had a very different conversation in Washington. His meeting with Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance reportedly turned into a heated exchange, with Trump scolding Zelensky for constantly demanding money from the West. Trump told him, "You're gambling with millions of people. You're gambling with the World War III. The contrast is staggering. The UK rolls out the red carpet and hands over billions. The US demands accountability and questions the endless funding. So, why is Britain the only country throwing money at Ukraine without hesitation? Starmer's latest move is a slap in the face to the British people. If there's no money for lowering taxes, increasing wages, or fixing our country, then there's no money for sending billions abroad. But that's not the way Starmer sees it. And it's why Britons are turning against him. What do you think? Is this a smart move or a financial disaster waiting to happen? Let me know in the comments. In some other news, a 4-year-old girl has tragically died following a house fire in Manchester. Emergency services were called to a property on Gateshead Close at around 12:35 p.m. yesterday. Fire crews swiftly extinguished the blaze and rescued the young girl who had sustained severe injuries. Despite the best efforts of paramedics, she was pronounced dead shortly after being taken to the hospital. A police cordon remains in place as specialist officers investigate the circumstances surrounding the fire. A spokesperson spokesperson for Greater Manchester Police said, "Sadly, despite the best efforts of all those involved, the girl succumbed to her injuries in hospital a short time later. Numerous emergency responders attended the scene, with Detective Chief Inspector Charlotte Wally from the Major Incident Team stating that they did their utmost best to save her. Firefighters were able to quickly bring the blaze under control upon arrival. Meanwhile, a 44-year-old woman has been arrested on suspicion of arson with intent to endanger life. Authorities confirmed that the woman was known to the child. A woman has been arrested, and I can confirm she is known to the child," said DCI Wally. Police have reassured the public that there is no wider threat to the community and that no other suspects are currently being sought. DCI Wally extended her condolences to the girl's family and friends, acknowledging the devastating impact of the incident. "These tragic events will naturally cause concern, but I want to reassure the public that we are conducting a thorough investigation and will leave no stone unturned," she said. "The incident has deeply shocked local residents, and specialist officers continue their inquiries. Police are urging anyone with information about the fire to come forward. I would ask anyone with any information about yesterday's events to please get in touch with officers," DCI Wally added. A police presence remains at Gateshead Close as the investigation continues. And lastly, King Charles and President Volodymyr Zelensky shared a warm greeting just days after the Ukrainian leader's tense encounter with Donald Trump. The king met Zelensky on Sunday during an official audience at Sandringham, his Norfolk residence. The meeting followed Zelensky's visit to the White House on Friday, where he faced a heated exchange with Trump and his running mate JD Vance. In response, the UK and EU reaffirmed their unwavering support for Ukraine. Amid the ongoing Russo-Ukrainian war, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is set to host leaders from Europe, Canada, and Turkey for a special defense summit to present a united front. On Saturday, just 24 hours after his contentious meeting with Trump, Zelensky arrived at Downing Street for talks with Starmer. Zelensky expressed his gratitude for the king's willingness to meet, highlighting the significance of continued international support. During their Oval Office meeting, Trump accused Zelensky of gambling with World War III and told him he was not in a good position right now. The confrontation was sparked by Zelensky's remark to Vance that the US does not currently feel the impact of Russia's invasion due to its geographic distance, but warned that it will feel it in the future. Trump, angered by the comment, fired back. "Don't dictate what we are going to feel. Ukraine does not have the cards right now. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. Vance also pressed Zelensky, pointedly asking, "Have you said thank you once this entire meeting?" Despite the tense exchange in Washington, Zelensky's visit to the UK underscored the country's steadfast commitment to supporting Ukraine in its ongoing struggle against Russian aggression. So, what are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments. That brings us to the end of today's video. Hit the like and subscribe button for more British content. Oh, and don't forget to get your t-shirts at BritishStand.com. Link is in the description.